Every time you think you've seen a fully formed Jude Bellingham, he does something else, something different, and adds more layers to his game. He's just a phenomenon. There isn't a better quote out there that emphasizes the aura of Bellingham's brilliance. His personality, tailor-made for a club of Real Madrid's stature, a proper Galactico. Yet despite the optimistic forecast following his record transfer, the boy from Birmingham has somehow smashed expectations thus far, and his impact goes beyond football statistics, with an influence transcending into mainstream culture. But if there's one thing that has become apparent throughout Bellingham's rapid rise, is that he is constantly evolving at every single stage of his career, and at such a young age, well, we still don't know just how good this guy actually is.
He's absolutely brilliant! Jude Bellingham! Absolutely magnificent!
Jude Victor William Bellingham was born on the 29th of June 2003 in Stourbridge, 19 k's west of the city of Birmingham. His father, Mark Bellingham, was a non-league footballing icon who played for 22 clubs and racked up over 700 goals. Erling Haaland could never. So football was in the Bellingham blood. Although ironically, Jude wasn't really interested in the sport as a kid. But his father persisted, signing him up for a local club, Stourbridge FC, where his talent was instantly recognisable. It wasn't long before he was snapped up by Premier League outfit Birmingham, joining their academy setup, and from the moment he joined, he stood out. Bellingham was the crown jewel of the academy and was so good that it became problematic after scoring 15 goals in a single half whilst playing in his age group. He had to be moved up just to keep things fair. At 13, he was already an England youth international at U15 level. At 14, he was in Birmingham's U18 squad, and a year later, he was the U23's standout player. The only level he was yet to crack was the first team, but it was only a matter of time. At 16 years, 38 days, Jude got his inevitable breakthrough, being handed his first start in the Carabao Cup against Portsmouth, becoming the club's youngest ever player in the process. Later that month, he made his championship debut away at Swansea, and from that moment, he never looked back. His transition to the senior game had been seamless, going on to make 44 appearances that campaign. Whether he played out wide or in the heart of midfield, his presence was guaranteed. Manager Pep Clotet was in awe of his ability, claiming that the only 16-year-old he'd ever seen that was on his level was none other than Leo Messi. Jude had suddenly become football's hottest property. Every big club was swarming for his signature, but it eventually came down to two: Manchester United or Borussia Dortmund. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was desperate to sign the 17-year-old, but Jude's team were impressed with Dortmund's track record of providing young talent with first-team opportunities, as evidenced recently by another Englishman in Jadon Sancho. Thus, he agreed to join the German outfit for an initial fee of £25 million, the most expensive transfer of a 17-year-old in football history. Birmingham fans were understandably devastated. This was the club's greatest ever talent. Seeing him pick up the awards for both EFL Young Player of the Season and Championship Apprentice of the Year in a Dortmund kit was a bittersweet feeling. As a final show of appreciation, Birmingham decided to retire the number 22 jersey. It was a decision that baffled many, even Jude himself, considering he was only 17 when he left. But 3 years down the track, maybe it wasn't the worst decision after all. Anyway, Jude's next adventure in Dortmund was going to be a significant challenge. This is a football-mad city. Any 17-year-old would surely feel the pressure playing in front of the yellow wall, right? Well, almost every 17-year-old, because Jude Bellingham is built different. Scoring on debut in the DFB Pokal against Duisburg, the youngest in Dortmund's history at the time, and then backing that up with an assist in the opening Bundesliga matchday. It took him 4 games to win his first individual honour as a Dortmund player, winning the Rookie of the Month award for September. 2 months later, he'd receive his biggest career accolade to date, being called into the England first team setup and making his debut at 17 years, 136 days, the third youngest international, only behind Theo Walcott and Wayne Rooney. It seemed as though every aspect of his career was fast-tracked, but the reality was that Bellingham prospered in any environment. He seemed blissfully unaware of the enormous pressure of elite football. Gary Neville said it best: "I've watched players for England play for many years. The weight of the shirt was enormous. He just doesn't feel it at all. He looks like he belongs out there." His first season in Germany proved to be an overwhelming success. He made 46 appearances in total, became the club's youngest ever Champions League goal scorer. He won silverware in the DFB Pokal, and to top it all off, earned selection into the England Euros squad. All of this before he had even turned 18. insanity. That tournament he made 3 appearances in total, all off the bench before losing the final to Italy. A sour end to an exceptional campaign, and shortly after, Jude was officially an adult. After Jadon Sancho's departure to Manchester United in the off-season, Bellingham was expected to step up in his absence, and he did exactly that. He played in all but 2 Bundesliga games that season, but the most notable change in his game was his attacking influence. Despite being played in a variety of roles, including defensive midfield, he still amassed 20 goal contributions. So it came as no surprise when Jude was selected in the 2021-22 Bundesliga Team of the Year. He also finished second place to Pedri in the Golden Boy Award ceremony, but it was his 3rd season in Germany that properly transformed Jude into one of football's greatest talents. At 19, Jude was now the complete package, a dynamic midfielder who could win the ball and progress it forward, maintain possession, find gaps in opposition defenses, and even better, he knew how to find the back of the net too. He was now a leader within the squad, and following both captain Marco Reus and vice-captain Mats Hummels being sidelined, Jude was given the armband, becoming the youngest Bundesliga captain ever. The increased responsibility only served to improve Jude as a player. He was a colossus in midfield, but had suddenly added goals to his game, scoring in 4 consecutive Champions League matches. He had taken his game to the next level, just in time for the 2022 World Cup. This was a huge tournament for England, and for Jude especially. For years, England had lacked a dynamic central midfielder who was capable of something special, but the 19-year-old just needed to be backed. He was, and of course, he delivered, scoring the opening goal for England and becoming an essential member of the team. He went on to start all 5 of England's World Cup matches that tournament before falling short to France in the quarterfinals. Another heartbreaking defeat for the 3 Lions, but for Jude, this proved to be another vital learning process on the biggest stage in world football. His attention would then immediately turn back to Dortmund because they were in a legitimate title race. Bayern were a shambles last season, and Dortmund were so close to breaking an 11-year title drought. But Jude had picked up a leg injury when it mattered most. With 1 game left to play, he was forced to watch from the bench. All Dortmund needed to do was beat mid-table Mainz at home, but they completely bottled it, drawing 2-2, whilst Bayern snatched victory in the dying embers of their match to retain the Bundesliga title once more. Jude didn't feature, but this proved to be his final match day at the Signal Iduna Park, as Dortmund fans were well aware that a massive transfer was looming. So Jude's dream ending proved to be an utter nightmare, but his efforts was still rewarded, being named the Bundesliga Player of the Year at the age of 19. He was now one of the best midfielders in the world. Once again, Europe's biggest clubs wanted to sign the English star, but there was only ever one move for Jude, and that was a transfer to Real Madrid. For an initial fee of 103 million euros, Jude Bellingham became the latest Galactico. It was anticipated that Jude would retain the number 22, as he previously wore at Dortmund and Birmingham. However, he instead was given the iconic number 5 jersey, worn famously by the great Zinedine Zidane. It was a bold call from Real Madrid, but they were confident of Jude fitting the bill, and so far, it has been a match made in heaven. Throughout Madrid's pre-season tour of the US, Jude was by far the standout player. He took this rich vein of form straight into La Liga, where it's been simply unbelievable. 5 goals and 1 assist in 4 appearances for Real Madrid. He is currently the top scorer in La Liga. Only 1 Madrid player in the club's history has scored in their opening 4 games, none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. To say that Jude has settled would be a disservice. No, he has taken centre stage now as arguably Madrid's most important player. It was fitting that in the first game at the new Santiago Bernabeu, Jude stepped up to deliver a 95th minute winner, a special moment. Seeing his teammates gravitate towards him has been compelling. These players have won everything, and they too are in awe of Jude's brilliance, seen mimicking his unique goal celebration. Back in Germany, a different narrative has been building that the dressing room did not like Bellingham's ego, but there can be no denial that in Spain, he has been cherished from day one. His incredibly high standards may have contested social dynamics within Dortmund's playing group, but in Madrid, this mentality is a necessity. At 20 years of age, Bellingham's career is still so young. We have no idea where his ceiling truly is. Every season, he has improved drastically, and at Madrid, surrounded by some of the best players in the world, he will almost certainly reach new heights. Now, it's only the honeymoon period of Jude's career in the Spanish capital. His output has been prolific, but I don't think anyone is expecting him to maintain this level all season. But if history has taught us anything, it's that he's only going to get better every single season. This is just the beginning of Jude Bellingham's stellar career.